Hello, my APOS friends. Hope everybody is doing well and enjoyed their snow day. So, unfortunately, we do need to look at some topics because we missed a day. We're still going to do review tomorrow in class and have your test on Monday. So, I just need to hit some topics to wrap up the World War II era for you and Unit 7 as a whole. Where we left off was the European theater in World War II. Looking at the Pacific theater, again, we saw a lot more hatred for the Japanese than the Germans. In fact, we interned the Japanese in Executive Order 9066, passed by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, putting Japanese Americans into internment camps. This is then followed up by the Korematsu court case, Korematsu versus the United States, in which the Supreme Court of the U.S. says that this is legal, that in times of crisis, the U.S. is able to suspend civil liberties or rights for people. So Japanese internment gets a star. It's very important. It gets asked about a lot. In terms of the U.S. fighting in the Pacific theater, we hit the island hop. It's a term you do need to know, where the U.S. is going to jump from island to island in the Pacific Ocean, making their way closer and closer to the main island of Japan. You island hop so you can then, have areas along with aircraft carriers to take off and bomb, targets in Japan. Part of the biggest, devastation in World War II that's, not really talked about is the fact that the U.S. was firebombing Japanese cities. Many Japanese cities are made out of wood. We talked about how they had a lack of raw materials, so their building material wasn't really metal, it was wood. So firebombing Japanese cities led to more deaths than the atomic bombs, which we'll eventually get to. Anyways, it takes the U.S. about 3 years to island hop, get all the way to the main island of Japan. Iwo Jima and Midway are usually cited as the two most famous battles. Midway is called Midway because it's midway between Hawaii and Japan. Funny, right? Anyways, Iwo Jima is the one that you've probably seen the picture with the Americans trying to raise the flag over the island. It's a pretty famous picture. I can show you on Thursday. It might be in your Jeopardy review. But yeah, that one's big for patriotism and support, and they made a movie about it. It's called Flags of Our Fathers. But anyways, island hopping. Moving closer to Japan, we eventually realized that the Japanese Empire is not going to surrender. We can see this through their use of kamikazes, and even though the end of the war is pretty evident, they still do not surrender. So, for years previous to this, the United States had started developing a secret weapon, the atomic bomb. It's called the Manhattan Project. It's also a star. You should probably know that. It's led by scientist Robert Oppenheimer in consultation with a whole bunch of other famous scientists in the time period. The U.S. eventually tests their nuclear bomb and decides to use it on the Empire of Japan. The idea or the argument for why the U.S. should have used the bomb is essentially that it would have taken, as an estimate, about 1 million U.S. soldiers to take the island of Japan by force. I wish we had time for this in class. I'll post the link to the video. You should watch it. There's a great series by the British Broadcasting Company about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and you can see in the video that the Japanese are training little kids, less than your age in school to stab the invaders if they were to get there. It's pretty interesting, primary source. But anywho, we figured the Japanese wouldn't surrender, so we decided to drop the first bomb on Hiroshima. It kills about 180,000, 200,000 people or so. The radiation sickness is devastating, and even the United States is surprised at how effective this bomb actually is. The Japanese refused to surrender, mostly because they want to keep their emperor system in place. However, after the second bomb being dropped on Nagasaki, killing about 100,000 or so, it sort of missed the target, but still was effective. We make a deal with Japan. We essentially threaten Tokyo with a nuclear bomb. They're afraid this is going to kill the emperor and the imperial family, so they strike a deal to surrender. So the U.S. wins, claims victory in World War II. We have VE Day when we get victory in Europe. That's what that stands for. We have VJ Day, which is victory in Japan, and we have VD Day, which is just victory day overall. So anyways, the U.S. is victorious in World War II. We discussed how women played such a pivotal role in this. Soldiers are returning home now looking for their jobs back, and women are refusing to give them up because, you give people a taste of freedom. And that's where you're really going to see a women's rights movement start to push. You also see the push for a civil rights movement as the outcome of World War II as black soldiers return home, essentially saying, hey, we just fought, died, got injured for our country, and you still treat us like second-class citizens. My kids can't go to school with your kids. I can't drink out of the same water fountain or go to the same bathroom. What the heck is this? I just laid my life on the line for the country. So that's an outcome as well. The U.S. is also going to control post-war peace talks. us, the Soviet Union, and England get together at the Potsdam Peace Conference, in which we are going to debate and settle the issues of the New World. You could really claim in 1945, when the U.S. drops the bomb, we are now the world's #1 superpower. We have achieved this level. The Soviet Union is a very powerful country, but they still haven't developed the nuclear bomb until about 1951. So there's about a 45 to 51, those years, about a 6, 7 year time period where the U.S. is the undisputed power in the world. Um, this is really the end of Unit 7, is the U.S. hitting this peak of world powerdom. Um, the Soviets actually have a pretty decent argument for why they should control post-war talks. Again, they lost 27 million people in World War II. The U.S. loses, I believe, less than a million. So anyways, but we had the bomb, they didn't. So another argument for why the U.S. drops the bomb is to essentially tell the Soviet Union, hey, post-war talks, we're the ones with the power here, not you. So it does establish the U.S. as a world power. Again, that's the Potsdam Peace Conference. There's one before that with Franklin Delano Roosevelt called the Yalta Conference, but unfortunately he dies right at the end of the war, and it's actually President Truman, Harry S. Truman, who gives the order to drop the nuclear bomb and is present at the actual post-war conference at Potsdam. Anywho, if you have any questions, please let me know. This is a pretty quick rundown of what we missed in class. If I missed any topics or anything that I know is important, I know it's in your readings, I know it's in your videos, and it'll be in review tomorrow. So anyways, if you need anything, let me know. Have a great day. Hope you enjoyed the snow day.